welcome to class today. We are just going to jump right into it, bringing ourselves down into Savasana, back on the ground, legs extended out, palms facing down by your side. Taking a deep breath here, we're going to extend the arms up, bringing the palms together above the head. We're going to extend those hands to the left side first. And then bringing those hands back to center and extending to the opposite side now. On your next exhale, I invite you to release those arms towards your side, palms facing down, and we're going to extend that right leg up into the sky, rotating that ankle. Whenever you're ready, we're going to rotate that leg over the opposite leg, bringing it to a 90-degree angle and resting here in a supine twist. If this is uncomfortable on your knee at all, you're always welcome to take the leg that is extended out on the ground and shift it just below the bent leg. If you'd like a deeper stretch, you can extend that bent leg outwards. And whenever you're ready, bringing that foot back down to the earth, taking the opposite leg up into the sky now and rotating that ankle. And now bringing that leg up and over the opposite leg, keeping it bent, really twisting here, stretching out that side area, and resting here. I welcome you to now release that leg back down to the earth. As we take the right leg up to the sky once more, I invite you to bring that knee in towards your chest, maybe grabbing your big toe and resting here in happy baby. If this is too much of a stretch for you, you can always add some stability here by placing a bolster, or if you don't have a bolster, you can place a pillow beneath the top of your thigh here. Just resting that thigh onto the pillow or bolster. And from here, we're going to bend that left leg, now taking the right ankle and placing it on the left knee. And you can either stay here, or if it feels good to you, you can lift that left foot up, maybe about a foot off the ground, allowing for a deeper stretch here, really opening up those hips, just preparing for our practice today. And releasing both feet back down to the earth, we're going to extend that left leg into the sky now. Shifting your pillow or bolster, bending that knee, extending that right leg out, maybe grabbing your left big toe or the bottom of your foot, whatever's most comfortable for you. And now bringing that left leg over onto the right knee, really just above the right knee. And lifting that right leg if that feels good to you. And releasing both feet back onto the earth, extending your legs outwards. We're going to be rotating our bodies onto our stomachs, keeping our forearms placed on the ground, maybe taking a blanket here for extra support. And then we're going to lift those forearms up, bringing our hands into a fist and then placing them directly beneath our chin, resting our chin in the palms of our hands into crocodile pose. We're going to lift those sit bones up, maybe placing a blanket down to protect our knees here. And we're going to bring ourselves into Bharakanasana, table pose. Keeping that spine straight, your gaze just above the mat here. I welcome you to extend that right leg out, straightening the right leg and placing your toes and the top of your foot on the ground, really allowing for a nice calf stretch here, lifting that chin up slightly, being sure to keep that spine extended and releasing. When you're ready, taking the opposite foot and stretching it outwards, placing those toes on the ground and resting here in tiger pose. Whenever you're ready, we're going to be placing our shins on the ground, releasing those sit bones down, and we're going to extend those arms up to the sky and bring them forward onto your mat, placing your forehead on the mat as well. If this is too much of a deep stretch for you, you can always take a bolster or a pillow and extend your chest and forehead onto the pillow, or you're welcome to rest your cheek on the pillow as well. Yoga is all about doing what's comfortable for you. Everyone is in a different phase of their practice. So if something doesn't feel good to you, always feel free to adjust it to your comfortability level. Bringing ourselves back up into tabletop, we're going to lift those sit bones up into the sky, tucking that chin in, keeping the hands shoulder width apart and the feet hip width apart. We're going to walk those feet up in between the hands now. Maybe resting your hands on your shin, just below the knee, or coming down to your feet, placing the hands down on the mat. Maybe even grabbing each elbow and swaying back and forth. Really releasing the shoulder tension here. And ragdolling up, we're going to keep those palms facing forward into Tadasana mountain pose. If this feels good to you, you're welcome to do it, coming onto your tippy toes and then onto your heels just slightly. Onto your tippy toes on the inhale, and on the exhale, just lifting the toes up slightly. Whenever you're ready, extending that right leg back, maybe grabbing a block if you have one. If not, no worries. Straightening both legs out, extending that left arm down, bringing the right arm up into the sky with your gaze following it, into Trikonasana triangle pose. Bringing that arm down, we're going to really shift that left leg forward, bending it and extending those arms out. And Virabhadrasana 2. Then we're going to shift those hips forward, keeping that leg bent and extending the arms up into the sky into Virabhadrasana 1, Warrior 1 pose. Whenever you're ready, releasing that back leg down to the earth and extending those arms up into the sky, really getting a deep stretch in here. And releasing those hands. We're going to be extending that left leg out, straightening it. And if it's more comfortable for you, maybe grabbing blocks here, keeping that back as straight as possible. And we're going to be grabbing our bolster or pillow next, placing it elongated just in front of us as we bend that left knee as much as we can and extending that right leg straight behind us, keeping the chest up here. And if at any point it feels good to go deeper into the pose, you are welcome to remove your bolster or pillow and extend those arms out in front, maybe even bringing the forehead to the mat. And if you can't do this, no worries. This takes some flexibility here, And if you're just beginning, it might be a little bit more difficult to get this far into the pose. Feel free to just stay wherever you feel comfortable. We're going to be coming out of that pose now. We're going to be transitioning back into table pose. I am just switching sides here so you can see me better, but feel free to stay in the same direction you're facing. From here, we're going to be coming into cat-cow poses. And on the inhale, you're going to be extending those shoulders up into the sky, rounding that back, tucking your chin in. And on the exhale, releasing your stomach and extending that chin up. Just doing a few of these at your own pace here. Going to be shifting those arms forwards and bringing those sit bones up into the air into downward dog. Walking those feet up in between the hands. Resting wherever feels good. Resting those hands wherever feels good. And maybe grabbing each opposite elbow and swaying back and forth. Always being sure not to keep the knees locked in this position. They should be straight, but they should never be locked. There should just be a very slight bend in each knee here. And we're going to be ragdolling up here, facing those palms out in front of you into Tadasana mountain pose. Shifting that left foot back now, maybe grabbing a block, maybe not, whatever you want to do. Placing that right arm onto the block as we extend the left arm up into the sky with our gaze matching it. And releasing that arm, we are going to be bending that right leg, bringing our arms out to our side and our gaze just above our fingertips. Shifting those hips forward, extending those arms up to the sky into Virabhadrasana One. Releasing that knee onto the ground, extending those arms up into the sky. Bringing your head towards your knee. If that feels good, if not, you're welcome to grab some blocks here. We're going to be bending that right knee in towards our hip now, extending that left leg straight behind you into pigeon pose. If it feels good to you, bringing those arms down, bringing your forehead down. And we're going to be shifting out of that pose now, coming to a seated position as we extend the legs out. And we're going to be bringing those arms down in front of you. Whenever feels comfortable, shifting over to the right foot, maybe bringing your head towards your knee. And if that's too deep of a stretch, just coming slightly out of that and placing your hands on your shin, just below the knee. Coming back to center now as we transition to the opposite side. Bringing those hands back to center here as we extend those feet out in front of us, keeping the legs planted on the ground. And we're going to release forward, bringing our hands just below the knees, the shins, the ankles, maybe holding the bottom of the foot. And now transitioning into Bharakanasana bound angle pose, taking the bottoms of our feet and placing them together, extending those knees out to our sides. If you have blocks available and this is a little uncomfortable for you, to release some of that resistance, you can add blocks just beneath both of your legs. Keeping that spine elongated, I invite you to now shift your head from side to side as we stretch out the neck here. Maybe even drawing a half circle with your head, tucking that chin in. And maybe drawing a full circle now, being careful not to overextend the neck and the back there. It should never hurt. It should always feel good and comfortable. If anything's ever hurting, that is your body signaling to you to ease up a little bit. And now we're going to be transitioning down onto the ground again, placing our backs on the ground, keeping those knees bent, feet firmly planted in the ground as we lift those sit bones into the sky, bringing ourselves into bridge pose. And releasing down to the ground. I welcome you to place that bolster just beneath your sit bones, bringing in that right knee towards your chest and extending the opposite leg out over the bolster. And we're going to transition to the opposite side now, taking in the left knee towards the chest. Bringing in both knees towards our chest now. Feel welcome to sway from side to side for a lower back massage here. And extending those legs back into the sky, we're just going to gently rub the backs of our thighs as we place our legs over our bolster or pillow. You're welcome to grab a blanket if you have one nearby and gently wrap yourself in it for our final pose of today, Savasana. Feel free to stay in Savasana as long as you would like, but if you're ready to come out of the pose, gently coming onto your right side, maybe tucking that arm just beneath your head to act as a pillow and resting here for a moment. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed it. Namaste.